I have mixed feelings, and I wanted to talk about them on screen. And I also wanted to draw Wanda, because I honest to God think she's one of the only good parts of this movie. I think it's like one of the only good things they do in this movie is have her in it. Um, so I'm just gonna talk about it, and I'm just gonna draw some WandaVision. Not WandaVision. I guess just Wanda fan art, and I just hit my microphone. See, so I am again in a new setup. So if that happens, sorry and tell me because I can move stuff if I need to. But I I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna start drawing, and I'm just gonna start talking. First of all, why the fuck would they make? I don't like that they called it the Illuminati. They made like a secret like panel of people who was in charge of stuff and was like super secret, and then they called it the Illuminati, which is so ridiculously stupid to me. I cannot even begin to explain it. Like, I know it's probably a comic thing why it's called the Illuminati, but oh my god, why? It bothered me the whole time. Why would you make a secret society and then call it the Illuminati? Because, like, it's not even a, like, oh, we've been here since the beginning of time, protecting the multiverse. Like, it's not even, we've been here for years and years. Like, Doctor Strange made the Illuminati. In the fiction of this movie, Doctor Strange made the Illuminati. So why the fuck would they call themselves the Illuminati? Why would... it made me I was completely unable to take any of that part of it seriously, just because of the fact that it was called the Illuminati, which is one of my many problems with this movie. It's certainly not the biggest, but oh my god, did that bother me. It's just so dumb. It's so dumb. My biggest problem with this movie is, like, it felt like they were trying to make two different movies. Like, this felt like, honestly, a pretty cool WandaVision movie with some really cool ideas and, like, a cool direction for her character. And at the same time, it felt like the most lukewarm Doctor Strange movie ever. Like, it just... Benedict Cumberbatch, which I was gonna say a joke name, but I'm too frustrated with it to say a joke name. I'm just gonna say his regular name because I don't want to come up with something on the fly. Benedict Cumberbatch is the most exhausting part of this movie, like, hands down for me. And I don't know how to explain it other than, like, again, they are making two movies here. It is the very serious and very, like, dark and honestly very cool WandaVision movie. And then it's this weird, like, still goofy Marvel-esque kind of Doctor Strange movie where he doesn't even feel in character. Like, there is the Doctor Strange movie with, like, guest starring America Chavez, which they never use her character for anything, which pissed me off, because I sat down to this movie and I saw that she was in it. I was just immediately like, is that America Chavez? I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, I didn't see anything in the promotional art that she was going to be there. Yeah, because they don't use her for anything. That's why they didn't advertise her being there, because she is basically only there in name. Like, she's in the entire movie. I would love for someone to count how many lines America Chavez has in this actual movie. Because, like, she is a big part of the plot. She is the reason the movie is happening, supposedly. And also, they use her for nothing. Like, she is not a fleshed out character. And I really wanted to like her, because I don't know a lot about her character, like, in the comics, but I've heard a lot about America Chavez in the comics. And I knew people were excited to see her in this. Like, I remembered afterwards that she was going to be in something, and I was like, oh, it must have been this. And I heard people were excited to see her on the screen, and so was I. But the fact that, A, I didn't even know she was going to be in this movie, because they didn't talk about her in any of the promotional art. And B, they just don't even use her really in the movie. She's just kind of a walking plot device, is really frustrating. Like, I don't know. Also, the fact that they gave her two moms and then immediately killed off her two moms. They love in this movie introducing minority characters, and then I need to redo this part of the costume. I am not doing this correctly. But they love introducing minority characters in this movie and then immediately killing them off just for dramatic effect. But America Chavez's job in this movie was be a plot device and talk long enough to have sad backstory. And it pissed me off. But I genuinely really enjoyed any moment in the film with Wanda. Like, the moments that are just focusing on her, that is the strongest part of this movie. The problem is it doesn't fit at all with the Doctor Strange parts of this movie, which are supposedly the focal point. And, like, it's just a problem because, again, two separate movies. One really goofy and, like, not even really goofy. They try to make it goofy. They're just, like, I don't know, it's weird. They try to make it goofy and it's weird. But one, again, is the Doctor Strange movie, starring America Chavez as the walking plot device, and one is this actually really cool Wanda, like, Scarlet Witch movie. And any time the two of them collide, like, on their own, the Scarlet Witch movie is really cool. On its own, the Doctor Strange movie is predictable and boring, and Benedict Cumberbatch is unbearable. Like, exhausting. And together, anytime they come together, it is so ridiculously hard to follow. Like, it's just so... I have so many problems, especially with, like, the beginning of this movie, where the heel turn of Scarlet Witch being revealed, sort of, as the bad guy is annoying because it's like 30 seconds. Like, they let you think for less than a second that she might be on everyone else's side, and then immediately they don't even let you like breathe in the moment when she is revealed to be a bad guy. Like, she just not really to be a bad guy, because, like, I feel like the way her character was going, the audience is expected to know, like, oh yeah, she's not going to be good in this movie. She's going to have, like, some twist or something. But I expected that twist of her, like, oh, you know, I'm going to betray everyone because I want to get my sons back, which is a cool character motive, and they should have focused on that more. But, like, I thought that twist would come much later in the movie and be more built up and just make more sense in general, and not just like, yes, it is I who has been hunting this teenage girl. We're not going to explain when this started or where I got the idea for this, or like how I know who America Chavez is. I guess just from like dreamwalking and looking in other multiverses, but that's just so random. We're not going to explain any of that. We're not going to explain, you know, just anything. We're not even going to do even a little itty-bitty recap on the events of WandaVision to let you know why I am this fucked up right now. We are just going to, in a split second, I will snap my fingers. This whole picturesque, cute little farm that I'm on will turn into literally just a scene from The Wizard of Oz, where it's like the Wicked Witch of the West's horrible headquarters. Like, you expect flying monkeys to start coming out. And I get the idea of, like, whatever the book is called that Wanda's using, the Darkoth or whatever. I get that is supposed to, like, corrupt the land around you and be corrupting her, but it is wild that just they felt the need. It just felt so unnecessary to have literally every tree, like, blackened and, like, completely blackened and dead, every single tree. I get that it's set dressing, but set dressing needs to have a purpose in universe. Like, and again, I know it's supposed to be, oh, well, she's being corrupted by the book or whatever, but it's just, it looks so cheesy and over the top the way they do it. It just looks so, like, cliche. But, like, so her introduction in this movie really, they fumble it. They fumble it pretty bad, in my opinion. But then they bring it back, like, and from that point on, like, from the point where the movie splits into these two separate movies after they first escape from Wanda into a different dimension. And then you are alternating between being wowed by Wanda's, like, I got so angry. I get so frustrated. I knocked my headphone out of my ear. But you're alternate between, like, being wowed by Wanda's incredible power and just so utterly bored by Doctor Strange's. Also, everyone in this movie keeps calling him Steven, which, like, I know that's his name, but, and they make a joke about it in Into the Spider-Verse, which I loved, by the way. I love when they do a multiverse movie right. I just don't think they did it right this time. But they make a joke about it in Into the Spider-Verse of, like, yeah, you can call me Steven, we saved the world together. Okay, Steven. No, that feels weird. And it feels weird when anyone else does it, too. Like, it feels weird when anyone in this movie calls him Steven. Especially America. Whenever America Chavez calls him Steven, it feels so weird. Like, I get that she knew him in another universe, which, again, they don't explain properly. They don't explain how those two met. It is not fleshed out at all. But I get that she knew him, right? It's just still so weird that she would call him Steven. It just feels weird, because they don't establish properly how those two know each other, that they know each other. And again, it just feels weird in general when anyone calls him Steven, because, Christine, I think her name is, his, love interest, she calls him Steven, of course, because they've known each other forever. And it just feels weird. It feels so weird and awkward. It was like they were afraid of saying Doctor Strange in this movie. Like, somebody called him Doctor Strange as a joke. Sort of as a joke, it's weird. But other than that, everyone just goes like, ah, yes, Steven. And it just feels out of place. Like, I don't know. It feels like they were trying so hard to go darker with this movie. And in certain places, it really works. Like, when, in my opinion, when Wanda is, like, ripping someone apart with magic and, like, falling to her knees, you know, sobbing in grief for her lost son, it's like, all of that, that works as a darker tone. And just, the problem is that, like, interspersed with that, you get, like, Doctor Strange, like, Benedict Cumberbatch just trying, because he's not funny. I don't think he's a very funny actor, and he's never really needed to be. Because first he was Sherlock, and then he was Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange did not do a lot of funny in the first couple movies. He didn't really try. He just kind of, his comedic role, if any, was to roll his eyes at other people's comedy. And it's not necessarily a critique, because I remember liking the first Doctor Strange movie. But he's not funny. And they keep giving him the quips because he's like, I mean, he's the only Avenger you know, right? He's the only one you have left. In this movie, at least. So they keep giving him, like, oh, fun little quips. And it just doesn't work. Because he's not funny. And because it doesn't fit the situation. You know, 90% of the time in the scene, it doesn't make sense for his character, for anyone really, to be joking. He's never been a funny character. It just doesn't track. He's also, like, it is difficult, I think. I mean, I don't have experience acting in a big budget movie like this, but I think it must be very difficult to, when you know that so much CGI is going to be put in after, to act like you are, like, flying around or fighting a huge monster or whatever. And there's a lot of that in this movie, because it's Doctor Strange, and, like, 90% of the action on screen is them just kind of, like, waving their hands, and then cool magic happens. And some actors are really good at it. I think, God, I'm completely blanking on who plays Wanda, even though she's great. But she's great at it. Like, you watch Wanda move, and like she has like these jerky, I don't know, just the motions that she does. She feels like a witch. Like she feels like she is doing magic. And you watch Doctor Strange do it. You watch Benedict Cumberbatch do it, and he still feels so awkward after having done this for so many movies. And I've never noticed it before, I think because it hasn't really relied on him to do too much magic and look natural about it before. Which sounds weird, because again, I did see and enjoy the first Doctor Strange movie, but I think a lot of that was about him as a character. Whereas this movie tries really hard to lean on flashy visuals and like just cool, oh look, pretty scenery and like crazy cool magic stuff. But when your lead actor is bad at pretending he's doing crazy cool magic stuff with his hands, it doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work enough to distract you from the plot that doesn't really make sense. There's also, just speaking of like, of trying to distract you with these pretty visuals, which again, they try to do that a lot in this movie. They like will pull some bullshit plot thing that they do not explain, and then they will cut to Doctor Strange doing what is supposed to be cool and entertaining. And there is one scene in this movie, I think of it as the piano scene, where Doctor Strange is fighting himself, which doesn't work because Benedict Cumberbatch does not pull that off well. But he's fighting himself, an evil version of himself with an eye in his head, God knows why. And he bumps into a piano in the middle of the fight. And then music notes fly up in the air. And then he just starts fighting with the music notes, and they start like throwing the music notes back and forth at each other, which is unnecessary. It feels like somebody was writing the script and was like, yeah, let's give the visual effects department another 3 months of work because they don't have enough right now. So let's make some poor intern work like 60 hours on this one scene. It just doesn't make sense because that's not how his power works. Like, he could do that. He has no reason to, because nothing about the fight, like, the music notes being flung around adds nothing to this fight. They could be doing it with just regular energy beams or whatever the fuck, like they usually do in Doctor Strange, and they don't. They do it with music notes because, again, somebody was like, well, this scene doesn't really make sense. We don't really know why he's fighting somebody evil, his evil self, and we don't know why this guy has a big third eye in his head or anything. So, let's just put a lot of very flashy visuals in here and hope nobody notices that we're covering our asses. And let's just try that. And you know what? I applaud them for trying. And I don't know. They tried to have the music match the scene. It never really feels quite right. It just, I don't know. Just, they do a lot of that in this movie, like breaking the rules they have set for themselves in this universe. Because that's my biggest problem, I think. I keep saying things are my biggest problem and then changing my mind. But that's one of my biggest problems with this movie is I feel like Marvel doesn't know what it wants the multiverse to be. Like, it is, again, I love a multiverse story done right. I feel like Loki does it really well. I think Into the Spider-Verse is great, but it's obviously a whole different ballpark. It knocks all these films I'm talking about out of the water. But No Way Home, that's what I was thinking about. Spider-Man No Way Home does it great too. I love that. This movie, it references WandaVision, right? And I think from the trailer, it seemed like it was going to tie in Loki as well. And I was very excited. I was really excited about that because, like, I loved Loki. Except for the part where he tries to fuck himself. That's weird. I did not love the part where he fell in love with an alternate version of himself. That was weird to me. But I do like Loki a lot, so I was excited that they were going to tie it in. They don't. And not only that, they don't, like, follow the rules that they've set up for how the multiverse works. They talk about incursions in this movie, which is supposedly like when two different universes are like they get too close or something, and then they, I don't fucking know, like they crash into each other and one of them is destroyed. And I thought that the way they were going to tie in Loki is they were going to be like, oops, we were wrong. That's not actually what happens. Like, what's actually happening is big bad guy, whose name I can't remember from Loki, is destroying the universe that he feels like doesn't fit. Because that's, like, that guy's main motivation in that show. Is that he just is going around and they manually detonate universes which do not work. And it would kind of make sense, kind of, not super, but kind of, makes sense that, like, they thought the researchers from this other universe assumed that that was, like, these two universes crashing into each other because the laws of physics or whatever. Like, it's not a bulletproof plot point, but it would make more sense than what they did, which was not address it. Like, not address Loki at all, not address, like, the... Oh, why did I say beat like that? Not address the, like, contradiction. Making a very cartoony Wanda for what looks like a very dramatic pose, but, you know, sometimes your art style will be like that. But they just didn't address it at all. And it just kind of bothered me from that moment on of, like, okay, I guess we're just not. I guess we're just... And presumably, in either the next, I don't know, show or movie or whatever that they try to do, they will explain that or try and make the two things coincide or something. But currently, it just doesn't make sense. But that was something that I really kept going back to, was I feel like, I don't know, and I didn't love the thing where all of your dreams, in this movie says that all of your dreams are just scenes from other universes, which is fucking wild. Like, all of your dreams? I once had a dream that I turned in a fire, and then my mom disowned me because I tried to feed her salmon, and she hates salmon. Like, and you're telling me that's from another universe? Like, I would like that more if they put some limitations on it, but they don't. They don't put any limitations on it. In fact, they lean into it wholeheartedly of, like, every single dream that you have is you in another universe. And there are no exceptions. And we know this because America says, like, oh, the way that I know there's no me in any other universes is I never dream. Which plenty of people don't dream. I mean, we're all dreaming, actually. We're not all dreaming right now. That sounded weird. But, like, everyone dreams. It's just usually you don't remember your dreams. And I don't know. And they don't explain how would America even know that dreaming is, like, because she says it like she's thought about this before. Like, she's thought about the fact that she doesn't have a counterpart in another universe. I thought that I drew her gloves already. Where the fuck did they go? They're gone. Gotta draw them again. That's fine. Oh my god. Oh wait, is it here? Yeah, it's here. Okay. Still gotta finish him. But, like, how does America know, or how did she know beforehand that dreams were you in other universes? Like, I guess maybe other Doctor Strange explained it to her, but again, we are not given any insight into America's past except, well, she had two moms and then they fucking died. Or maybe they fucking died. She thinks they died for no reason, because she thinks she sent them to another universe, but she assumes that means they died. It also doesn't make sense that America is sent through a portal, the same portal that she opens up when she's a kid, and a bee lands on her hand, and she gets really scared. She is sent through the same portal. She was, presumably, sent to a different universe than them, which is not how her power is set up to work. Like, even though there's, like, a bit of a delay of her jumping through, not jumping through, but, like, going through the portal after her parents, that happens several times. Like, several times Doctor Strange will jump in a portal behind her or something, and then they'll get sent to the same universe. Like, the only time when somebody goes through a portal and goes to two different universes is the last time, one of the last times America opens a portal. When Wanda catches up to them, she sends Doctor Strange and I forgot her name already. It's not Shanice. It's not Janine. Whatever his alternate universe love interest's name is. This movie is exhausting. But she sends Doctor Strange and the love interest to, like, a collapsing universe, and then she controls America's mind to send them to the universe where Wanda is, which is the universe that we, the viewer, are familiar with. And, like, that makes sense, that that's two different universes, right? Because Wanda was in there, she was doing some mind control shit. She's up to the crazy stuff. But it doesn't make sense that first time when her moms are dragged through to another universe, that America would not be sent to the same universe. Because it's not even that long. Like, it's not a different portal. It's the same portal. It's like maybe a 30-second difference. Maybe. Probably shorter than that. And then she goes through, and apparently, we are to assume at least, because she never saw her parents again, that they were not on the other side. That they were sent to some other universe. And that's just not how her power is set up to work, like, before that at all. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know. I really wanted to like America in this movie, but they give us nothing to work with. Like, they barely explain her powers. They say that her power is, like, just opening portals to different universes, but then she does, like, her weird, crazy power punches. Which, again, really work when the plot demands it. And I know that, like, the whole thing is like, oh, I can only use my powers when I'm very, very frightened. Well, you're very frightened a lot of times in the movie, and it always seems like you only use your powers. You only figure out how to use your powers when when the bad guy is just about to catch up with you. So, like, I don't know about that, America. I don't know about that, America Chavez. I don't know, though. Like, but I'm going to talk about what I did like in this movie. Because, again, I loved the parts of this movie that are focusing on Wanda. She is a really cool character. And she's a relatable, like, not relatable necessarily, but, like, her motive is very interesting. Of, you know, she has lost her children. Everyone keeps telling her, like, whenever she tries to confide in anyone about her pain, everyone tells her, like, well, your children weren't real. Your husband was a robot. Who cares? You made all this up. You suck, and your children are fake, and just get over it. And Wanda's over here, like, knowing that in other universes her children are real, which, again, it doesn't really explain how she knows about dreamwalking and stuff. I guess she does from, like, the book, but whatever. But she's over here, like, knowing, oh, my children are real, and I love them, and I miss them, and I can get back to them. And this information is just driving her insane, to the point where she is ready to kill America Chavez, who, they keep calling a child. They don't really explain how old she's supposed to be. I don't know how old the actress is. I would guess she's, like, I don't know, 15? But I'm not great at guessing ages. But it's really interesting, because, like, you don't agree with her, and you're not supposed to, but you do sympathize with Wanda, because it is a horrible and painful thing that has happened to her. And that's why any moments in this movie with her that are just her being cool and kicking ass, like, you were kind of rooting for her. at the same time you like hate everything she's doing, but you're like, okay, please don't leave the screen, because when you do, I am left with Bendel Kick's Snuzzle Natch, and I'm so bored of him. I am just so bored of this guy. This guy over here, I'm just so bored of him. But just, I don't know, I wish this movie had leaned more. I wish this was two different movies. I wish they had made a Scarlet Witch movie and a Doctor Strange movie. Because that's what they tried to do with one movie. And it doesn't fucking work. I wish that they had just given Wanda her own movie that was purposefully very dark and very, like, you know, where she just goes to extremes. Because this movie tries to be that, and then it tries to keep appealing to what Marvel fans have traditionally liked, which is, like, turn to the camera and make a joke, and, like, you know, just Doctor Strange cursing some random guy who pissed him off to be literally hitting himself over and over for 3 weeks, he says, is how long that spell's gonna last. Because he walks into a guy when... That's not how you say that, but he walks into a guy when he's in this other universe for the first time, who is like, you can't be Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange is dead, you know? Oh, did you steal this cape? Also, your teenage friend here stole a bunch of pizza balls from me, and it's not really explained why we have pizza balls here. Because, like, yeah, multiverse stuff, but at the same time, multiverse stuff should have rules, or it means nothing. But, so this guy pisses him off. So he curses him to be hitting himself over and over and over. And then, and then America Chavez is like, hey, maybe don't do that. And then Doctor Strange is like, oh, don't worry, it's not permanent. She says, oh, it'll wear off in a couple minutes. And he says, about 3 weeks. And that's supposed to be funny. I understand why it's supposed to be funny. It's also like, you made this guy hit himself for like 3 weeks. Like, it's funny because the movie thinks that's funny. Like, why? I don't... This is a weird movie. This is a weird movie, and I have feelings about it. And it is difficult to explain. I don't know, I just feel like that one scene is very representative of, like, the tone of this movie, which is nothing. The tone is nothing. The tone is like, we can't decide what we want the tone to be, so we're both going to announce that this man just figured out that his alternate self died and was killed by some of his closest friends, and also we're gonna make him cast a spell on some guy that's makes him hit himself for 3 weeks and pretend that's funny. Like, it's really weird. And you can tell that this has a different director than, like, Thor Ragnarok, and, like, I forget who the director is in this. What, Sam Raimi or something? But you can tell that this is a different director because the jokes are off. And I would be fine with that. Again, and I know I keep saying again, but again, I would be fine with that if they had just not tried to lean into the jokes. Like, if they had just pushed them aside. You know, had, like, the occasional, oh, jokey, blah, 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 funny Marvel goofs. And then also, I don't know, this movie just made me mad. Like, I just walked out of it, and immediately I saw this with my mom, and I was just like, I didn't like this movie, here's 50 reasons why. And I was midway through this movie, and I was like, I have to stream about why I don't like this movie. Because I need to talk to someone, and my mother is not going to agree with me. And she kind of did. But I don't know. It's just the inconsistency for me. This movie, if this movie is one thing in a word, it is inconsistent. Overall, I'm still glad that I saw this movie, like, because it is one part, dangling America Chavez in front of your face like the character that you've always wanted but will never get because they don't use her at all in this movie. And it is one part shitty Doctor Strange movie. It's not really very well thought out. And it is one part epic conclusion, in my opinion, epic conclusion to the WandaVision story. And to the story like that we have cared about, that we have learned to care about with Wanda. And I'm glad that I got to see the ending of that story. I don't know if it's the end, like they kill her off at the end, but God, I hope that they don't kill her off, because, yeah, it would be a huge cop-out if they refuse to kill her off at this point, but also, like, I don't like a lot of the other characters in the movies right now. So I hope that they keep her, because, God, I don't want to... I just want them to make a good Scarlet Witch movie. Because this was almost just a really good Scarlet Witch movie, and they could have made that, and then they didn't. They just didn't. I should probably end soon. How long have I been going? Oh, I've only been going 49 minutes. This wasn't going to be a super long stream anyway. I have to take a break if we do keep going for personal reasons. But it'll just be a couple minutes if I do. What does her powers look like? I'll do it later. I'll fix it later. It's fine. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of Doctor Strange as a character because I feel like he is... Benedict Cumberbatch plays the same arrogant asshole in every role. And because of that, it kind of works in Sherlock. Like, it kind of works, because he's not supposed to grow. It's been a long time since I've seen any of Sherlock, and I was never, like, crazy about it, but I don't think he's necessarily the issue in that show. Because he's not supposed to grow as a character. Because Sherlock just, as we know him, just isn't supposed to grow as a character. But they try to grow Doctor Strange as a character, and I just don't think Benedict Cumberbatch honestly has the range for it. Like, I don't see him... I just don't enjoy it when he tries. Like, I'm not even enjoying seeing Benedict Cumberbatch try to pretend that he has feelings. I am sitting there in a movie theater, and I am watching Mr. Sherlock Fumblenatch, pretend that he cares about America Chavez, even though he contemplates killing her several times throughout the movie. And I just don't give a shit. I am unable to be attached to him as a character. And I don't know what it is. I have no, I know what it is. It's the acting. And I want to go back to the effects in this movie, because, they alternate between very cool, but still not good enough to distract you from the plot, and the most Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Monsters vs. Aliens, 90s movie ass motherfucking shit. And, is my laptop almost dead? You know what? I'm gonna take a break for a second here, just for 5 minutes. I'm gonna pop on the back soon screen. And I just need to plug my laptop in. I'll be back in 2 minutes tops. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. So, the effects in this movie, right? They just lean into some really weird. And when I say Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I mean Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it was also 1999, and that was the best we could do. It was like the fade. I really like. They do several times the like fade in of another character's face on the screen, like they do on the. Here, they do it on the poster, like Doctor Strange's face like fading in behind him, and that's a cool thing on a poster. It doesn't look good in an actual scene. Like it looks so cliche and like overused. And there is also there is a scene right after they've done this like weird Buffy the Vampire Slayer ass fade in. There's a scene where it like closes in black, like it closes in a black. Here, this is important, so I need to properly illustrate this. Ignore Curious George with the transplanted, but we have Mr. Cumbersnatch. We have Mr. Cumbersnatch, yes? Here he is. He has just collapsed or something. Boop. And then we have a dark circle that starts from the edges of the screen and fades in to him. And then everything's black. And it really goes like black circle, zoom in on his face until we go full black on the whole screen. And then we zoom out to find Wanda. Fucking hell. Okay. Then we zoom out to find Wanda, and we start again with the black screen. Like we start black circle and we zoom back out. And it's so dumb. It's some Scooby-Doo level shit. And I don't mean that in a good way. And if this movie leaned more into the goofiness of it, then maybe I would mean it in a good way. Who knows? Maybe it would work if this was more like your typical goofy, funny Marvel movie. But it just, you cannot have it both ways. You cannot have, like, the Scarlet Witch just ripped someone's head off on screen. She just bisected Peggy Carter. She took this dude's mouth off with magic, put it in his own head, and then when he tried to talk, it blew his brains out from the inside. Like, you can't have that, and then Scooby-Doo graphics, like, haha, wink at the camera type jokes. Like, you cannot have it both ways. And I would really like this movie, I think, if it were one of those things. But you just can't. You can't do both. Can't do both. Also, the, like, starting monster in this, it looks very Monsters vs. Aliens. It looks extremely Monsters vs. Aliens. It looks extremely Disney Channel original CGI. It is not good. It's just, I was looking at this monster and we are literally like 10 minutes into the movie at this point. The plot is already falling apart. And I'm like trying so hard to like this movie because I'm like, if I don't like it right now, if I don't like it 10 minutes in, I'm gonna hate it. And I'm trying so hard to like this movie, y'all. I'm in it. And then I'm looking at this monster and I'm like, not only is this not scary, it is comically bad CGI. Like, the places, I feel like they spent all of their money CGI-wise on the goddamn piano scene that makes no sense. I really do. I believe it with my whole pussy. And I cannot for the life of me understand why. Like, there are beautiful, like, backgrounds and CGI, like, just, there's this, like, inner sanctum in this one place where they're keeping like the Book of Light Magic or whatever the fuck. And they go in it, and it is so beautiful. Like, I was even taken aback from how much I was not liking the movie in that scene. They almost succeeded in their goal of distracting me like a toddler with flashy graphics and fun colors. And that's really beautiful. And then you have scenes like the Scooby-Doo zoom in where it honest to God, seems like they ran out of budget. It really does. And I don't know. I just don't understand some of the choices in this movie. Like, I don't fucking get it. I don't know if the actor just wouldn't come back, or if it was a purposeful choice to not have him in the movie, but Vision was not at all in this movie. He was just not. And I don't really know why. Like, it wasn't too distracting, because most of the movie, not most of it, honestly, like half of it, takes place in our universe, and obviously Vision is dead in that universe. But we jump a lot of the time to, like, Wanda with her children in another universe, and just, like, they're just normal. They're just her normal kids. They're not, like, made of magic or whatever they were in WandaVision. Which means that they are her children with Vision, and which should mean that he is alive. Like, it would imply, at the very least, that he is alive. But we don't see him at all in this movie. Not even a single frame, not a mention of him. Which doesn't make sense, I think, not just for, like, the movie, like, plot-wise, but for Wanda's character. Because, again, I love the motive of her trying to get her children back. It makes sense, it is relatable, it humanizes her. But in WandaVision, she also was desperately holding on to Vision. And, like, at the end there, she is, like, she's not just like, I want my children back. She's like, I want my children and my husband back. So, even if he doesn't exist in those other universes, she would be looking for him. If she's looking for, like, the ideal universe, she's gonna look for one with her husband in it. And, I mean, you could make the argument that it would be hard for her to sort of replace her alternate dimension self in a universe with Vision in it, but I don't think she's thinking about that clearly. Like, I think Wanda has completely lost all rationality at this point, and she, like, that's why she's trying to kill America. That's the only reason that plotline makes sense, is that we've seen her lose everything, and we've seen her sort of, you know, fall into disarray, and we know that she's, like, grasping at straws. Like, I think deep down she knows she cannot have her children back. Just like in Westview, she knew really that it wasn't going to last. Like, she couldn't make it last. But it's just... Oof. Oof, man. Come on. Oh. I don't know. I think I was especially disappointed by this movie because, like, I was so excited about the direction they were going after WandaVision and after Loki. Which I could make a whole other stream on my thoughts about Loki. But that's not what this is about. Mainly about my thoughts about how I love this show, except for the fact that his love interest is himself from another dimension, which is so weird. So weird. You would never make someone's twin their love interest. This is his mental twin. Like, it is the same person in a lady body. And it just doesn't make... And you could argue, like, he's a narcissist, so... You know, of course he'd fall in love with himself. But it's so stupid. So stupid! I was never invested in their relationship. But I was literally just saying that I wasn't going to talk about that. And then I started talking about it. But, like... I was just really excited after that about the direction they were going with this franchise. And this movie hasn't killed that for me. It just... I am disappointed. I'm excited about Love and Thunder. I'm kind of excited. I haven't really seen much about it, but I don't know. Takewati. I feel so bad. I don't know how to say the man's name, but I love all of his work. The director of What We Do in the Shadows and Our Flag Means Death, which I still haven't seen, and I really should, he did Thor Ragnarok, and now he is doing Love and Thunder. And I am excited for that, because I like his work. But I thought he had directed this, and then I was sitting there in the credits, and I was like, I'm gonna look up who directed this. Because I hope he didn't, because I really like him. And I didn't like this movie. And you know what? He didn't. I was right. What is this movie? I mean, what is this song? I did not know there were any tracks with words on them in the Ratchet and Clank soundtrack. That's weird. Let's try and get another, like... You probably hear me typing right now, sorry. Oops. Oh, oh no, I pressed skip too many times. Can y'all hear this song at all? Hopefully. I'm sorry, I can't turn the music up, because then when it plays the next song, it'll just be startlingly loud, because the Stardew Valley soundtrack is like that. How long have we been going? I feel like I might be running out of things to complain about in this movie. I would really like to finish this line art, though. I don't. I feel like that's going to take longer than we have. But, I don't know. Overall, again, I still am glad that I saw this movie. I am glad that I got to see the conclusion to Wanda's character, so to speak. And overall, I like what they did with her as a character in this movie. I hated every second when it wasn't focused on her. Everything that wasn't about her was boring and mind-numbingly boring and not well written, and it didn't fit with the theme of the rest of the movie. And I just really wanted to stream about this because I've been purposefully avoiding, like, you know, stuff about this movie because I didn't want to be spoiled. But I didn't see a lot of bad things about this movie. So, like, I don't have anyone to rant to. I don't know anyone. I don't know a lot of people who saw this movie, but I don't know anyone who saw it and really disliked it for the same reasons that I did. So, yeah, it was hard to follow. This is me doing a conclusion right now, I swear, even though I sound like I'm just on a further ramble. But it was, in conclusion, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It was hard to follow, I thought, and it was really... When it wasn't hard to follow, it was really predictable. Or it was really cool, because it was Wanda. And they introduced some new characters that either they expected you to know everything about, and then you didn't, or, you know, they just don't use them at all, like America Chavez, which I am still so sad about. They are clearly setting up to do more with her, and I really fucking hope they do a good job this time, and I hope they go a different direction with it, because Jesus, did I not like what they did with her here, which was nothing. They used her for nothing in this movie. She's just a MacGuffin. She's just a walking plot device. She's just the thing that the bad guy wants. And if that's all you have out of a character, and you don't give them more personality, it just makes her like a damsel in distress, which doesn't make sense, because she is... Oh, also, I just want to complain really quick. At the end of the movie, they have Doctor Strange possess his own rotting corpse. It is so disgusting and unnecessary. Like, just, I felt like a little bit, like, physically ill from that scene. It is so gross. It's just so gross. Like, and none of it, the logic of it just doesn't make sense. Like, There's a lot of in that scene in particular, there is a lot of like, oh, I don't think I can do it. Well, I, a person you care about, is now whispering to you that you can do it. I'm not explaining how. I'm just saying that you can. Okay, well now I can do it. Like, it happens with him and love interest of him, whose name I don't know. And I swear I knew it at the beginning of the stream. Talking about this movie is erasing it from my brain, which, you know what? I guess I'll just keep talking about it then, because that's the goal. But, like, he is, like, basically dying, because he possessed a corpse, and then the souls of the damned, who we are not explained at all how this system works, but the souls of the damned are like, oh, you can't possess a corpse, it's against, I don't know, magic law or some shit. And then he's having a seizure? It's not explained well. And she is there. I cannot get this line right. She's there. And he's told her, like, oh, protect my body. Which doesn't make sense, because she can't do shit. Like, which is not a diss on her. She just is literally unable to do jack shit. Because everything is happening in another universe. But he's possessing this dead body. He's having a seizure on the floor of some weird abandoned mansion they're in together. And then she just leans over to him and, like, just use the souls of the damned. You're the cool sorcerer guy. You can do it. And then he's like, yeah. And he uses them as wings or something. It is so weird. But she doesn't tell him how to do it. She doesn't do anything except offer words of encouragement, and then he can just do it. Because the plot demands it. And then we have a very, honestly, very gross scene of him, like, fighting Wanda as a disembodied corpse who was, like, actively rotting. Like, half his face is gone. It's so gross. And then we try to have, like, a really dramatic, like, cool, like, emotional scene between him and America Chavez, where he's like, you can do it, kid. And Benedict Cumberbatch, not the greatest actor, like, with body language and facial expressions in the first place. Benedict Cumberbatch, when he is covered in CGI, like, corpse makeup, definitely not capable of pulling off a scene like that. It just keeps cutting back to him, like, in a dramatic shot, and then you look and you're just like, oh god, he's still a fucking zombie. Like, and then basically, he's just like, oh, you can do it. I'm not gonna kill you. I'm not gonna kill you and take your power. Which, how do they know that killing her will take her power? They all just kind of take that as a given. But I'm not gonna kill you and take your power. You can control it. I know you can. And she's like, I literally can't. And he's like, no, I know you can. Because you're cool. And you're America Chavez. And then she can. He doesn't give her any tips. He doesn't tell her, like, oh, try focusing your blah blah blah, so you can do this. Like, no, he's just here. He's just here. He's just here, and he says, you can do it, America. And then she just can. And, like, I shouldn't complain about that scene too much, because it does lead to a genuinely very good scene of Wanda. Like, America opens a portal to a world where Wanda's kids, like, exist and are happy with their regular mother, who is the other Wanda. And they open a portal, and they're terrified of her, because she's not really their mother, and she's a crazy floating witch lady, and their introduction to her was just that she first possessed their mother, and then is just choking America Chavez, just in these kids' living room. And Wanda is like, they're throwing things at her, and she's like, kids, please stop, please stop. And then she, like, screams at them, like, stop it! And they're so terrified of her. And then you can see, like, the heartbreak on her face. Like, just knowing that her children, who she is sacrificing everything to try and get back to, like, are scared of her, and that she has pushed herself to this point. She just keeps repeating, I'm not a monster, I'm not a monster. And that's a good fucking scene. That is one of the best scenes in the whole movie, and you just had to get through so much bullshit to get there. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that scene couldn't have just been in a better movie. Do I have time to do this second wing on her costume? I really wish the Scarlet Witch's costume wasn't so difficult. There's so many lines and such. It's so hard, folks. Anyway, I was gonna do a conclusion like 10 minutes ago. Anyway. It's my 50th anyway of the night. So, in conclusion, bad movie. Half of it was a good movie, not one half put together, but, you know, all the disparate halves that come together to make up the Scarlet Witch movie. That is the good Scarlet Witch movie that is hidden inside this painfully boring Doctor Strange movie. An extremely predictable Doctor Strange movie. And I am glad that I saw it, because I did, just to know what was up with Wanda. Like, literally, I only am not, you know, I'm only not sad that I saw this movie, because I wanted to know what was up with Wanda. So I'm glad that I know what's up with Wanda. Otherwise, felt like a waste of time, honestly. Did not enjoy it. And weird choices, and just, I could go in circles for another 20 minutes, but I can feel myself running out of steam. And we've been going for an hour and 15 at this point. So I'm just gonna thank you for coming, if you came and you stuck around. I appreciate you listening to my opinions that no one asked for. And just thank you. I don't usually do streams like this. I mean, I usually draw and talk. I don't usually talk about one movie and how I didn't like it for an hour. But, again, appreciate you sticking around. If you like me, and maybe you like my art, you can follow me, or you can go to my YouTube. I have a YouTube with stream archives that has old VODs in it. I have another YouTube with like clips and speed paints. And I just did a stream. I stream every Friday. I do art, and sometimes I do random little bonus streams throughout the week. I want to do more of them, because I am about to graduate, so I will have a little bit more free time. Not much, but a little more. So, you know, I just did a drawing Pokemon evolutions based on the new starters on Friday that I thought was a really good stream and was really fun. So if you want to see more of my stuff, maybe check that out. Maybe give me a follow, whatever. Again, if you showed up, thank you. And hopefully I'll see you on another stream some other day. And if I don't, you know what? I hope you have a good day anyway. And thank you for coming. And I'll try and finish this Scarlet Witch and post it on my Instagram later. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.